Hello everybody, Qualia Quartz here, and welcome back to a new episode of The Lost Glade. In our last episode, we built the Beekeeper, and we're starting to lay out the rest of the village. In between episodes, I started laying out more of what will become the ruins of this mall structure. Just getting a general idea of where it's going to be, how wide I want it, where I want a fountain to eventually be. And it's a good thing I did this, because it's revealed to me that maybe this building is a little too close. I think there's definitely room for a building between here and like here. But similar to this building, I want that overhang jumping out of the building over here as well. And as it stands right now, it would only jump through in the back internally, and you'd only see it from the inside, which could be a cool thing. All the holograms inside the building, but that's kind of not my vision for the place, so I'm gonna scoot this back. And with that, this whole path might get a little revamped. This whole stretch may be a lot more large and dynamic. I'll be able to do more things with this path. I could build wagons in it. So yeah, this building's gonna have to be pushed back. But my attention is not going to be over here today. I want to focus on actually fleshing out the interiors of both my house and the Beekeeper. More so my house because that's where I live, and I really want to make sure that I design the interior in a way that makes me really want to use the house. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I made in my last world, in Fusiocraft, was moving my inventory out of my house into a cave next to it, because then I ended up only ever going to that cave and I never really used my house anymore. So what I have in mind is after a big building session where I'm done and I'm packing up the materials, or after a big adventure, I want to be able to come into the house, have a centralized space for my inventory where I can also smelt things, craft and stone cut things, use anvils. Basically, I want a big space for my inventory where I also have access to all of the related utility blocks. There should be a brewing section of the inventory at the end, for example, where there's a lot of brewing stuff, perhaps. So I've already moved my inventory from down here to this floor, and I don't know if it's gonna stay here. Odds are it might. It's a really big space, and I could divide this up into different rooms like I'm definitely going to on other floors, but the inventory is one of those things that kind of has to be in a giant room, and I think this one works for that. If I were to do a giant room anywhere else, it would be up here, and we have the vertical space for that, so I'm also considering moving it up here. This side is probably going to be decorated a little more cozy with the campfire and the additional window. One issue with moving the storage up here is that I'd kind of have to go around the windows. I don't want to cover them up. So yeah, now that I think about it, it would awkwardly be in this corner and then in this corner, and I don't want to do that. I think where it is probably where it's going to have to end up. So in that case, I'm going to have to design this floor to have an area for smelting, brewing, stone cutting, anvil work, and of course all of the inventory. I still want to do it in a way that is pretty, and I don't know if I want to sacrifice some chest space by putting some columns down here. There's probably going to be another row of chests along this wall over here, and that's going to probably enclose this space enough. Perhaps the support beams should just be in the middle. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Now that I'm starting, it's really starting to get me excited to flesh this entire place out, because this is so much better. Here's a little bit of my thought process. Also, hey look, I actually have stairs now. My thought process is this. Have you ever gone on those trails that people make where it's not entirely the straight way there, so people make their own path over time? I want to avoid something like that happening in my house. I want to be able to take the straight path to where I want to go, have whatever I need out of this place be right there as soon as I go wherever I need to go. And the places that are a little more tucked away, like this one over here, can be a little more furnished. Not so much functional, but just cozy to hang out in. But every immediate thing, everything I need, I want to be very accessible from right at the start. So if I want to do anything inventory or smelting related or brewing, I just have to pop down here and immediately it's all right here. And so since I've finally established where the stairs down are going to be, I've closed this area up. Now this place has got a full floor. I think in a similar vein, the stairs up might be right here, but we'll see. So down here, I've put up some new walls to block off the moss machine area from the storage room. And the spacing is very convenient because there's this 2-block gap between this wall and this room's wall, so I put storage chests in it. It perfectly became part of the storage room. Now this space right here, I couldn't put chests because this is the way down where I'm going to have the basement level. So this part coming out to here couldn't really have chests, but that's okay because now I've moved a lot of miscellaneous utility blocks right here and I made a little shelf for them. And I've come up with a pretty creative solution to one of the new issues that the signs have presented. There's 3 ways that I typically label chests. It's either with item frames, signs, or blocks, physical blocks beneath or above the chests. I'm trying to make this storage room as compact as I can make it, so I'm trying to just use 1 chest per wood type. Of course, I have a lot of overflow of dark oak right now, which actually motivated me to just craft a bunch of barrels, which I'm keeping in the spruce chest because I know I'm gonna need more for the roofs later. I might do that a little more because there's still so much dark oak that I have no idea where to put right now. But this is the new labeling system that I've devised, and it makes use of the hanging signs up above. So the reason I don't want to use item frames is because of lag. The reason I don't want to use signs is because you can edit them now. If you misclick on a chest, oh, now you're just editing a sign. But if the signs are above and they label what's in each chest from above, then now there's nothing blocking the chest, so they're easily accessible and easily identifiable at the same time. That still presents a little bit of reading to figure out what's in what, but with enough organization, like how I have all the wood here, all of the ores here, in no time I will be naturally going to where everything is. Like if I need quartz, I know that all the ores are over here, and hey, the quartz is right here, and I'll start to get really used to that really fast. So I'm going to continue that type of thing over here. I'm not sure how to deal with this corner yet. I think I'm just gonna remove all the chests from the corner and just kind of have the wall come out here. I really like the way that the chests look in between these pulls, and it really helps with the organization. So I might sacrifice a bit of chest room for those pulls, not only to make it more pretty, but also to make it more organized. Hours of work. It may not look like it, but sorting these chests, hours of work. But I've got them all sorted here, and I've got a nice moss carpet, and I've established a little middle column section for barrels. What I'm using these barrels is, well, for any overflow or for anything that I just don't feel like sorting after a big adventure. If I just want to empty my inventory quickly and move on, I'll just pop them in here, sort it later. And I figured out where to put both of the smelting arrays. I've got one in this corner, one in that corner. Since all my ore is over here, I put all the blast furnaces over here, and I'm actually using the furnaces themselves as the block that the lava drips through to save space. I don't know why I've never thought of that before, but that compacts this entire setup. And then I put my food over here, so I have my smokers right here, and my normal furnaces are right here for things like glass. These two aren't used as much as the blast furnaces. Like when I do a big round of mining and I have a bunch of iron and copper to smelt, then I'm gonna want more of these. So I can just pop some copper or something in, and then immediately refill it with infinite lava. Right now I'm cooking myself up some baked potatoes. And over here, I made sure to put all of the brewing related items right next to where I'm going to have a little brewing setup. Now I opted to have a little wooden sink of sorts, just like a little wooden barrel of water over a cauldron because of this. Cauldrons are just kind of inherently worse for filling water bottles. They're limited to 3 bottles, but an actual water source you can just get infinite water from, so why would you ever actually use a cauldron? They've basically become the lava generator block. Like, that's the only thing that I use it for. And then right here I've got that little closet space that I don't know what I'm gonna use that for now because the brewing station doesn't really need to be that big. Just a few more brewing stands in case I'm brewing a few things at once, but really that's all that's required. Water, a brewing stand, and all the ingredients are right here. So I'm really satisfied with the way that this room is looking. The functionality behind it is very thought out. Long adventure, I come down, I immediately can put all my stuff away, cook everything that I need to cook. I think the next big thing is the enchantment table. I need to find an actual space for my enchantment table because it's still down here in the darkness. I don't want it to be too far from all my tools and stuff, so I think it might be somewhere around here. So if, like I was suggesting, I put this set of stairs here, then maybe this enchantment table could be somewhere within the realm of not too far from the door. Because again, oh, I changed the clouds. Because again, I don't want anything functional to be too far from the front door. There's going to be a cozy fireplace here. This is going to be a little bit of a an entryway living room, so maybe somewhere over here? In fact, I could kind of make this entire area like my library. I think what I should do is mark out where I think the walls are going to go and then go from there. The actual walls are starting to go up, and now I have a staircase to the top floor. And just around the corner, I'm starting what is going to become the library. This is the spot where I've decided the enchanter's going to go, and there's going to be rows of bookshelves along this area, little reading spaces. This wall I'm currently using to store all of my enchanted books, so all of these over here are my mending books, and this is just kind of miscellaneous. It's a little awkward because I wish you could hover over and see what they are, but I have to take them out in order to see. Like this one has sharpness 4, protection 4. I mean, I don't know. This is temporary, I think. Ideally, I'd fill this wall with my own written books later, and just for now, I wanted to put something in here. So the library is at a little bit of a standstill because I don't have that much leather, so I'm right now trying to set up a cow farm. I had one in my starting cherry area, but this one, I have to start doing it all over again. And in the meantime, I've been thinking about an adventure that I want to do. I want to go back to that area where I had the desert and the mangrove swamp. There's a certain something I want to go to swamps for, and I didn't actually properly check through that entire desert when I should have. Because you know what I've forgotten about this entire time since 1.20 came out? Camels! I have completely forgotten about camels. I haven't seen a single camel in survival Minecraft yet, so I'm grabbing my boat and heading over there. Also, I've been doing a little more down here. I'm trying to make this place feel a little more settled in with all the roots, and I wanted to work in the spore blossoms in a way that still felt a little natural, like not just out of nowhere one on the ceiling. And now this room feels even more immersive. I want to bring in a little more plant life to the interior. Same thing going on over here around the bend, but like I said, it's adventure time, and this brings me to the next big issue. The map. I need to put this map somewhere more permanent in the house. I haven't decided yet if I wanted to keep using that big table I originally had or if I wanted to have it vertically on a wall. If it is on a wall, it's probably going to be on the top floor, but if I use the big table, it could be the living room area. Ooh, and in case I do run into a camel, I should probably bring a saddle. And a lead because I'm guessing you can't put it in a boat. Dude, I'm out here, I'm collecting some muddy roots, I'm collecting lily pads. I completely forgot there are frogs here too. I should have brought some slime balls because just breeding them, getting the tadpoles, bringing them back with me in the bucket, that's the easiest way to transport them. Who knows, I might have to wait for nighttime to kill some slimes. In the meantime, I don't think I went to the same mangrove swamp as the one earlier because I don't see the desert. There we go. I'm really sad I missed my brush as well when I was leaving because, oof. I've already passed by several ruins that I could have used my brush on. Ooh, several bits of good news. First of all, there's a village over there. Second of all, okay, maybe this is not good news per se, but that's pretty weird. Sand in the trees. Fig! Oh my god, it's my first fig! And a camel! Oh. And my first granny. So many firsts at once. I had to, dude. I saw this when I was scrolling all the Minecraft skins. I had to. I guess let's start by getting this guy. Because, okay, we don't even have to tame it or anything. We can just put a saddle on him and start riding him around. This is so silly. This thing makes some scary noises. Alright, y'all, gather around. Cha-cha-cha. Ooh, I just realized I'm gonna have to wait for these to grow up. Alright, are they enclosed in here? Yep. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to chill. Oh good, they are all tadpoles now. That actually felt really fast compared to my previous experiences. Maybe not. This guy wandered off and I had to search for him for like 15 minutes. So now I got 2 buckets of tadpole, so I can breed them up once they grow to become big old frogs back at my main base. So frogs acquired, camel acquired, now I just need to get me a fig. I see her. She's a little speck over there. She's on that peninsula. Oh, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. Yes. Yes! Yes! The Figster! I feel like I maybe should have put a disclaimer out at this point. I didn't make any of these skins. These all came from Planet Minecraft. Fig only has one eye, so I kind of just booped one of them out. That's the only modification that I've done, but otherwise someone else made this skin. You know, I'm not out here making granny skins and robot spider skins. I know you ain't gonna fit, but I still want to test it out for science. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get this guy across the ocean. This plan is so janky. I don't know if this is gonna work. Let's see. It's actually actually working. Okay, so Fig is in the boat with me, and the Camel's just kind of being dragged behind. I mean, if it ain't broke, I'm fine with it. Oh, this is so silly. Dude, I'm hitting the Fig jackpot today. This is the second one. I'm on the way back home, and boom, there's another Fig. I mean, like, I might as well. So, I've returned home with my new Camel and my Fig, and as you can see, I've started to continue to figure out the interior in here. I'm chipping away at it little by little, just trying to figure out some general things. Like, this is gonna be a living room type space, so I'm trying to think about where the rug might be, where there should be walking space, where there should be furniture, and I've also been working on these walls, making them a little more textured on the inside. My biggest roadblock that I'm hitting right now is that the ruins are just kind of, I don't know. They don't feel as incorporated as they should be, and I'm trying to bridge that with what I'm doing here. But I think what I've settled upon, because this has been kind of bugging me for a few weeks now, is I think I need to change the colors that I'm using. The whites that I've been using are all right, but I've been messing around with colors in my creative testing world, and I think that going in a blue direction makes it look a whole lot more better. I just said more better. English, but this is what I'm thinking of. I'm veering wildly off course from interior design, but this is important. Before I proceed, I think I need to fix the colors of what I'm working with, because that's going to inform what I'm doing on the inside. Oh wait, these are supposed to be weathered, the best stage of copper. So what I'm thinking with this revamp of the color gradient of the ruins, first of all, I was feeling like the white was kind of boring, and it kind of made everything look a little uglier. I like the idea of these buildings being white and clean, but in the ruins it kind of just makes things feel a little drab. Now if I change that to blue, which is actually a little more accurate to the source material that I'm basing these ruins on, the source material being my own webcomic, not only will they look a lot better, but this gradient is going to be a lot cleaner looking too. The good news is that I've already got a ton of wax being produced for all the copper that I'm going to need. The bad news is I'm definitely going to need a prismarine farm, and the amount of copper that I'm going to need is going to be astronomical. I'm going to have to mine so much. I mean, I might end up making a drowned farm. I like manually mining for my copper, but it might get to that point. I think I'll definitely have enough for the 2 buildings that I currently have, but down the line, that's going to be an issue. This is why I shouldn't make overall video plans. Okay, wild detour, we are redesigning the color gradient of our buildings. You'll see what I mean in a moment, because this is a whole lot better than what I had before. I mean, look at this, man. Look at how smooth that is. So, a few notes about my thought process. Number one, I really wanted to use prismarine because of the way that it changes color slightly. So every other glance you have at the ruins, they're going to be a slightly different shade. Not only does that add to it being very futuristic, but that also just makes the whole thing look even more visually appealing when there's going to be more of it. Imagine just the world around you being slightly more purple at some points in time, slightly more green. So I wanted to use that en masse, and also I think just having it be colored as opposed to just being white monochrome is a lot more visually appealing to look at as well. The sea lanterns stand out a lot more now. Everything about it feels just that much more right. Now this was a grind and a half. This used a lot of copper, and I'm kind of burnt out on working on the house right now. I'm trying to figure out general ideas for what I want to do on this floor, what direction I generally want to go in with all of these rooms. 2 things are getting in my way. Number one, I'm kinda not interested in doing interior design right now. It's never really been one of my biggest interests. I liken myself as more of a world builder, and building the interiors of buildings like this isn't as exciting. And number 2, I think there's a few more things that are going to happen to this building down the line that will inform the way that I build this interior, so I think I want to work on that a little more. There's a few things about the house that I want to change up before I start delving into the inside a little more. And so, I started shifting gears towards the garden. I'm trying to roughly figure out where I want to go with this in its official form. And I like what I have going here with the raised planter boxes and the muddy, dirty little corridors in between. and using enough decorative blocks to completely remove grass from the equation. This is an area where moss is straight up replacing grass, which visually makes this tiny little area feel that much more distinct and inviting compared to the rest of the world over there. Here's the actual grass over here. Here's my grass that I'm working on. And I definitely still want to have mixtures of both, but I really like the way that this looks here on the edge. It gives this grass a little bit of a shallower vibe, which makes sense because there's a lot more foot traffic through here. I'm incorporating these flowering azalea bushes into the ground in areas where maybe the plants and the flowers are a little more trodden down. So making use of both of these in combination is kind of giving some depth to it. And I really like the way that these two shades of green and brown connect to each other. Like at a quick glance, or if you blur your eyes a little bit, they really seamlessly transition. And then because I'm not using any actual grass in this area, I'm able to use normal dirt, not coarse dirt or rooted dirt, just normal dirt in here without any worry that it's going to get grassed up. So that's nice and refreshing to use normal dirt in a landscape. Over here, I'm thinking there's two main paths that connect up to here on this elevated section of the garden. There might be more elevation later on. You can see here I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to build the ground out of. I think these up here are just me noting what I can plant on, and yeah, just keeping that in mind. That's another reason why moss is so good. So I'm thinking the next step to really fill out this space, I think this is the perfect area for my own little tree, nestled very snugly between these two main paths. And now that I think about it, I'm definitely going to raise this ground level up even more just to make the tree kind of that much more of a landmark. I think it's going to be a nice central focal point, and it's going to be really nice having all the leaves above you when you're gardening. Sun go down. Sun go down. Bro, let me sleep. Bro, let me sleep. Bro, let me sleep. And just like that, my own little tree is sprouting up. Maybe not the type of tree you might have been envisioning. I kind of just created my own. This one is also very reminiscent of a type of tree that I like to draw a lot in my comics back in the day. I'm pulling from my own material a lot in this world. This is supposed to be like a really big, mutated, super curly manzanita. And I'm planning on building a lot of these in the world, so I'm trying to make the design as simple to replicate as I can. I'm not the type of custom tree builder to go all out on the detail because I like to make entire forests basically. So if I can make it modular to some degree, then I'm going to do that to make it easier. So there's quite a few elements to this, the straight up nature, the curliness, the leaves that I'm going to install next that are going to be repeated. Like looking at these two branches, they're kind of the same shape, for example. It makes it easy for me, and it's hardly going to matter once they're leafed up. So I like to shape things out of moss before I fully detail them, like I did with the pipes that I still need to detail. I do this a lot when I haven't pre-designed something in creative, if I'm just freestyling in survival. As soon as you have an enchanted hoe, this is where using moss really shines. Boom, bam, kablam. And you can do this with dirt and an enchanted shovel too, but it's a whole lot more annoying when you're accidentally making path blocks when you don't want to. And there's nothing like that with moss, so it's just kinda painting. When you left and right click at the same exact time, it's just kinda like you're painting the blocks with the color that you want them to be. So the moss shaping phase is a very cost-effective way to mold the build into the shape that you want, and it's this easy to then go in and replace it with the actual blocks. This is why once I got the moss machine set up, I made the joke that basically I have entered creative mode. Because just like that, I have painted an entire tree red. Now this isn't where it stops because I also want to sprinkle in some mangrove wood into this tree to give it that slightly more woody feeling and just to texture it, make it look a lot more visually interesting. Something like this is what I'm thinking, just kind of working in some smoother areas here and there, using the planks to transition that. Sometimes you gotta take a really big step back. So I climbed the entire mountain. And I would say overall, I'm really liking how everything is starting to come together. Now I've applied a lot more of the texturing. I'm just kind of coming up here to see if I should do a little more. I think I should in this top area. I don't have wings yet, so I have to manually just walk up this mountain and give myself this big look from far away. But I'm liking it. I think that's a good scale. I'm definitely going to be dotting the landscape with more of these. Also, being up here is super reinforcing seeing me making this blue, like that definitely looks good from afar. Just comparing it to the beekeeper that I haven't updated the blocks for yet, like that white is just, it's just too out of place feeling. And I ain't done with this yet. Oh boy, here comes the leafage. And there's the leafage. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of 50-50 on this. I really wanted to use the cherry petal leaves because of the way that they drop the particles, and I knew that they would blow this direction over the garden. I'm not entirely sure if this color combination is what I want though. And you can still kinda see the curliness behind the branches, but only kinda. So I might keep workshopping this, I don't know. I think for now it looks pretty good, and it's one of the best custom trees that I've made so far. Probably notably because I'm not just trying to replicate a real life tree, but I'm just kind of inventing my own. There's no way I can go wrong if it doesn't actually exist. And I think that makes a good stopping point. I did some custom tree work, I did some gardening, I did some interior design, and I think most importantly, I made my house bluer. I blued my house. This has been Quality of Quartz. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time for whatever I feel like. I probably shouldn't make plans because I'm gonna break them. But it's probably gonna be the iron farm.
I need iron.